Hello, and welcome to NDKT 1025's video blog number 64. Today, we will be talking about child delinquency. Now, this last week, I got to sit down one-on-one for a private interview with one of Denver's finest, 11-year veteran, Officer Chris Evans. So we'll have some clips from that with some documentary in between. So let's get right to it. I wanted to focus on finding someone with first-hand experience and good insight on the juvenile justice system and child delinquency. So I made my way down to the Littleton Denver Police Department and met with decorated officer of 11 years, Officer Christopher Evans. In the following clip of my interview with Officer Evans, he recalls a specific case involving a juvenile rapist.
Maybe a rape case, I'll say. And the attitude I had from the juvenile in that particular case was he made a comment to me that he'd been convicted or tried on rape before, and he beat that one, and he was going to beat this one too. You know, he didn't seem to have any remorse on his behavior. He's obviously done it before, and whatever happened in his life from the previous case, his attitude was pretty arrogant instead of, remorseful, or that he learned anything, or that he felt bad about anything he did. He just was pretty arrogant about it.
What I gleaned from that is that not all teenagers or minors can be rehabilitated, no matter what the crime. I think it is faulty optimism that our juvenile justice system believes that 99.9% of juveniles can be rehabilitated.
There are a number of people that I contact over and over and over and over for pretty serious stuff. And I'll use an example of, say, robberies, burglaries, and even murder. I have contacted people that have been in prison before for that. They've been convicted, so they went to prison, and now they're out, and they're still participating in the same kind of behavior that could potentially result in the same things again. I mean, because they're doing robberies over and over and over, burglaries over and over and over. The murder could happen, you know what I mean, because they're participating in the behavior that could potentially lead to something like that, because these guys are carrying guns, drugs, etc., and that unfortunately comes hand in hand with other things. When it comes to juveniles and if they should be tried as an adult and or detained, in a detention facility afterwards, I think, again, you have to look at those case by case, because some people are just different than others. Not everyone's alike.
Now in this next clip, we're talking about maturity and how it's hard to determine when someone is functioning well enough in the brain to understand cause and effect when it comes to aggravated assault, rape, murder, things like that. But you can even take it a step further to like how we just generalize once you turn 16 you're ready to drive, when you turn 18 you're ready to smoke, when you turn 21 you're ready to drink and gamble and all that, and how it's really unpredictable how it will turn out for different people. So I really like the analogy he uses, so listen up.
Think of, say, babysitting here in the state of Colorado. There's not a specific age where you say, well, this person's 16 so they can babysit. It doesn't work that way. It's a maturity level. It's an emotional thing. It's a cognitive function of the person. And just because they're 17 or 16 or 15 and they're not 18 doesn't mean that they're ready or not ready to do things, because people are so different in that regard. So setting a specific age and just saying that that's the clear drawing line on when we're going to do it is difficult at best, because you're looking at children under 11. Do they really understand what they're doing? Do they really have the ability to think about and comprehend the consequences of their actions? I don't know. But just setting a specific age of we are going to do this, we aren't going to do that is tough. That's a tough call.
The next clip is what I believe is the most interesting part of our interview. I bring up the topic of death row and how before the 21st century, children were allowed to be put on death row. So it's pretty interesting to hear what he has to say about it.
When you just think that everyone can be rehabilitated, it's just not true. Not everyone can be. And to put the public back in danger of someone that's able and capable of doing something like that, I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, if they need to be put on death row, so to speak, or whatever they did, even if they were juvenile, and so be it. Because you just can't let things be better.
Being an officer of the law, he is very familiar with the inner workings of our current justice system and juvenile justice system. So next we talked about different accommodations for different types of criminals and why those accommodations are not put into place yet.
I think in a perfect world, if there was no financial limitations to rehabilitation and getting people treatment, absolutely having different specific types of treatment for mental issues, emotional. Then we're not even talking about drug problems, because this is a whole other set of problems. But in the ideal world, the perfect world, if you had all the money in the world, yes, it'd be great to have treatment for every one of these different aspects of whatever their issues are, to be more specific to the person. But unfortunately, we just don't have the resources to do that anymore.
Overall, I was very thankful to be able to sit down and talk to Officer Evans, and I feel like he had a lot of great insight and firsthand experiences, which is exactly what I was looking for, and that he understood my argument that our current juvenile justice system is not prepared for our current times, and that it's not a black or white solution, that the gray area needs to be filled in for us, and that our lawmakers need to start working on that. So thank you so much for joining me today for our video blog on child delinquency. I hope you learned something today and enjoyed listening to the clips from the interview I had with Officer Christopher Evans, and I'm so thankful he gave me that interview. If you have any other questions or you'd like to talk further, don't forget to comment in the box below, and I will respond to those as quickly as possible. And thank you again.